Sooner or later, difference scares people. You think if you don't fight back, then maybe they'll like you. Stop picking on you, calling you a freak.
It looks like J.K. Simmons' character, Ray King, won't be sticking around for long in The Accountant 2. The sequel, picking up after the 2016 hit, will follow Ben Affleck's Christian Wolff as he digs into the mystery behind King's death. Alongside Affleck, the movie will feature Jon Bernthal and Cynthia Addai-Robinson, with director Gavin O'Connor returning as well. The film is set to hit theaters on April 25, 2025. Let's break down everything we know about the movie so far. O'Connor recently chatted with Screen Rant's Owen Danoff about the sequel and shared that it was tough to let Simmons go, but he explained it was crucial for the story, especially to make things personal for both Christian and Mary Beth. Losing King is a big moment in the film, and it pushes the story forward, even though it was hard to say goodbye to Simmons' character. O'Connor said, "It was a painful conversation with JK to let him know he's getting fed in the movie, but it had to be personal for Chris and for Mary Beth. It was a key decision that had to happen for the film." What Ray King's death means for The Accountant 2, Ray King was a pretty vital character in the first movie. He was Christian's connection to FinCEN, using Christian's skills to take down criminals. Mary Beth, while hesitant to work with an active criminal, found common ground with King, who acted as the stabilizing force between them. With his death, both Mary Beth and Christian are left to navigate things on their own. Mary Beth, now forced into a bigger role, becomes Christian's new contact in The Accountant 2, but with fewer allies this time around. Unfortunately, Anna Kendrick won't be returning for the sequel. Simmons' performance was a standout in the original film, so killing off his character so soon could risk alienating some viewers. But at the same time, it'll likely trigger a strong reaction and keep people engaged, especially with Christians seeking vengeance. Plus, the death was already shown in the trailer, so fans might be curious to see how things play out. Some may also feel it's necessary to move away from how the first movie handled some sensitive topics, like its portrayal of autism, so this could help keep the sequel fresh. It's kind of predictable that King would have to go. A classic hero's journey often involves the hero losing a mentor. While Christian is still the main focus, Mary Beth's arc has been developing too. With King gone, she has to step up, taking over his role and using Christian's skills to help FinCEN. If King had stayed around, Mary Beth wouldn't have been forced to grow, so this change could lead to stronger character development and a more unique story for the sequel, even if it's a bummer to lose Simmons in the process. One thing that's still kind of puzzling about The Accountant 2 is why Anna Kendrick isn't coming back, especially since most of the original cast is. The first film didn't really set up a sequel, but it did leave an open thread with Christian finally reconnecting with his brother Brax. The trailer for the sequel gives us a hint that it'll be more of a buddy action film between the two brothers as they dive into solving Ray King's murder. Even though the first movie wasn't a massive hit at first, it's definitely gained a bigger following over the years, especially with streaming. It's odd that Anna Kendrick, who played Dana, isn't coming back, especially since her character was pretty important to the first movie. But after Christian helped her with a dangerous situation, it seems like her storyline has come to a natural close. When you think about it, Dana's character had a pretty solid send-off. She helped push Christian out of his shell a bit and gave him a connection to his humanity. By the end of the first film, she's out of danger, and Christian even gives her a Jackson Pollock as a parting gift. With that chapter wrapped up, it makes sense why Dana's not part of The Accountant 2. Sometimes sequels feel like they have to bring back every character, but the filmmakers know that sticking to the story without forcing her return keeps it more organic. It would be tough to bring her back unless there was a really solid reason, and throwing her back in just for the sake of it could feel forced. Also, Dana doesn't really fit with the direction of The Accountant 2. Director Gavin O'Connor has said from the start that the sequel is going to focus on the dynamic between Christian and Brax, especially with their complicated history. The plot kicks off after Ray King is murdered, with a cryptic message that sends Christian, Brax, and Mary Beth all working together. Dana doesn't have any direct connection to King, and since she's not a trained killer or involved in the treasury like some of the other characters, it's hard to see how she would slot into this story. The film is clearly leaning into the action and suspense of the Wolff brothers working together, and bringing Dana back could pull focus away from that. But it's not like we've seen the last of Dana. The idea of a third movie in the series has already been teased, with O'Connor hinting at it being a sort of Rain Man on steroids situation. If there's a third film, there's a chance Dana could make a return, especially if the Wolff brothers find themselves in another dangerous situation. It's still too early to say for sure, but it would be nice if she could get a good reason to come back, maybe with some combat training under her belt. If she does return though, let's hope it's not just to serve as motivation for the guys to get revenge. But that's all up in the air for now. We'll have to see how The Accountant 2 does before we even start talking about a third installment. That said, the long gap between The Accountant and its sequel is another key piece of the puzzle. The Accountant 2 is set to hit theaters this spring, almost 9 years after the first movie's release. Gavin O'Connor has been working on a sequel for nearly a decade, but it's been a slow process. The original film, which premiered in 2016, followed Christian, a brilliant accountant with ties to criminal organizations. Despite mixed reviews at the time, The Accountant gained a strong following over the years, particularly thanks to streaming. While Anna Kendrick won't be returning, the sequel brings back most of the original cast, and it's clear from early looks that the film will delve deeper into the complex relationship between Christian and his brother Brax. So, why the long wait? According to O'Connor, the sequel faced years of setbacks due to changes in the industry, shifting studio priorities, and an unfortunate focus on big-budget blockbusters. The director described the process as feeling like a flower trying to bloom, but constantly being stifled before it could fully blossom. Despite the delays, both Affleck and Bernthal were eager to reunite for the sequel, particularly with a chance to work more closely together this time. The success of the original film's streaming run only made the sequel even more anticipated, with its debut set for the South by Southwest Film and TV Festival in March, followed by a theatrical release. Despite the long development time, O'Connor had a clear vision for the sequel from the start. Both Affleck and Bernthal were on board from the beginning, excited to explore the bond between the brothers, which will take center stage in The Accountant 2. The film won't just be more of the same though. It's set to be on a larger scale, with the dynamic shifting significantly from the first film. Without Anna Kendrick's Dana in the picture, the sequel will be more focused on Christian and Brax's relationship, with Bernthal's role becoming more prominent. The film also introduces new characters, including Daniela Pineda and Robert Morgan, although their roles are still unknown. The actors' statuses have changed quite a bit since the first movie. Bernthal, once on the rise, is now a major star thanks to his role as the Punisher and other successful projects like Baby Driver and The Bear. Affleck, meanwhile, has received acclaim for his direction in Argo and his portrayal of Batman, making this sequel even more significant in their careers. With all the changes and growth in the cast and story, The Accountant 2 is shaping up to be a different beast altogether from its predecessor. The long development time might have been frustrating, but it seems that the wait could have been worth it for fans of the original. And that wraps up today's video. If you want to stay updated on all the latest movie news, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. By doing so, you'll stay in the loop with all our future updates. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one. Remember, we're always open to your suggestions for future videos, so feel free to leave them in the comments below.